So, welcome back to Football Heritage TV. If you're new around here, smash the like button. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell. So, on a very, very disgusting, wet, rainy day here in London, Arsenal have had the here we go for Gyökeres, the goal scorer that I've been told is all they need to win the title. But while Arsenal are buying Gyökeres and Zubimendi, while they're buying players left, right and centre, Tottenham Hotspur are having a somewhat, you would say, slower than normal transfer window. But in all honesty, is it slower than normal? Isn't this what we normally do? Underwhelming, a bit slow, waiting for everybody else to do their business? Now, the worst bit about this is today, an article came out from Football London. Big up to Alisdair and Football London. It was a good read, actually. It was a good read. It was a frustrating read. Not his fault. But he entitled it, Why Spurs Need to Sell Before We Buy. Now, this is the news that no Tottenham Hotspur fan wants to hear. Why do we possibly need to sell before we buy? Again, we're not going to go down that road of asset rich versus cash rich. But surely we've got the money to go and buy. Now, let me bring a bit of context to this. This all started by talking about Palhinha. Now, the news came out today that Palhinha is a target for Tottenham Hotspur, but that Tottenham would prefer to get a deal on loan rather than buy the player. Now, the news has been coming out in the last 2-3 weeks that Palhinha is available from Bayern Munich. And over the last couple of weeks, that his price has gone down. Now, there are some reports suggesting that he can be got for 25 million euros. I don't know. I don't work on the board at Bayern Munich. I'm not his agent. I don't know. But what I do know is this would be an exceptional signing for Tottenham. Now, Alisdair, in his report, it says Tottenham are bloated in midfield and need to get rid of midfielders before any deal from the likes of Palhinha could happen. Now, I'm going to bring the elephant in the room into this in about 2 minutes, which is Morgan Gibbs-White. If we're bloated in midfield, how are we getting Gibbs-White? But we'll come to that in a minute. Now, the report went on to say that you've got Archie Gray, Papa Sarr, Bergfowl, Bassuma, Bentancur. Then you've got Kulu and Maddison, who are more number 10, so away from that kind of central midfield area. Then you have got the elephant in the room that is Morgan Gibbs-White. If Morgan Gibbs-White joins, that's yet another central midfielder. Depending on whether or not you think he's an 8 or a 10, doesn't matter. It still adds another central midfielder to the equation. Now, for Tottenham to bring in Palhinha, apparently we need to get rid of one. And here's the difference. Tottenham are atrocious at getting rid of players. Don't take my word for it. Go and look at our transfer market for our last 3, 4, 5 windows and have a look at how bad we are at selling footballers. Last year, we made something like 55 million euros while spending about 250 million euros. Something that the number's not exact, but something like that. And you look at it and go, well, 1, why are we so bad? 2, why do we need to sell before we buy? 3, why not buy and then force the player out? That is what a lot of people will be saying. Now let's talk about that. Tottenham Hotspur for me, what I'd love to see is this week Morgan Gibbs-White wrapped up as well as Palhinha, a number 6, a number 8, Maddison in the 10. For me, we've completely revamped the spine of our team without having to do too much. Maybe 80 million, maybe 60 million for Gibbs-White and then Palhinha on loan. But can we do that with the outgoings needing to take place? There's Bentancur. We're hearing that Bentancur wants to sign a new contract and that Tottenham are going to get him signed. Thomas Frank has said good things about Bentancur, hasn't he? He's alluded to him a number of times. Bassuma. He seems to be the flavour of the month to leave. But if all reports are led to be believed, Bassuma doesn't want to leave unless it's a Premier League club. Now again, lots of reports. I don't know what's true. But if that is true, the likes of Fenerbahce in Turkey have wanted him apparently. And apparently he doesn't want to go out there. How do you get rid of a player that does not want to leave? Now, it's simple. You can tell him, right? It's simple. You can tell him, you're not part of our plans. But he's not that bad, is he, that he can't be part of the plans? He's got 1 year left on his contract. Maybe he's thinking, let me run it down. I'll get a massive sign-on fee next year when I go on a free. So Bentancur, possible new contract. Bassuma probably doesn't want to leave. Bergval's not going anywhere. He's the young starlet. Archie Gray, don't talk to me about Archie Gray. I'd let him go. I'd let him go on loan. But apparently he's going to stay because Thomas Frank wanted him at Brentford. And then Pape Sarr. We've heard absolutely no news. Pape Sarr's got a lot of years left on his contract. Does he want out? Do Spurs want him out? I don't know. When you look at all of those midfielders, those midfield options, now chucking a Gibbs White into that, can Spurs bring in Palhinha? Now for me, I'd like to see us be that big club. Bring in Palhinha and then let some of the others know. Just so you know, we've bought in Gibbs White, we've bought in Palhinha. You're not going to get a lot of game time this year. But can Spurs afford to do that? Does the homegrown situation allow us to do that? I don't know. But should Spurs need to sell to buy? Isn't it a case that we cannot register somebody? And again, I'll be honest. This is why I didn't want Spurs buying Archie Grays and Pape Sarrs. I'll be honest. Because if we can't sign a player because of squad congestion, because we've got too many players registered, then this frustrates me because we've gone and spent it on young up-and-comers rather than waiting to bring in the senior pros. So what do? Do we end up in this window with a Palhinha? It doesn't have to be Palhinha, by the way. But does it end up a Palhinha and a Gibbs White? One of them? Both of them? Neither of them? Nothing would surprise you with Spurs, would it? Nothing would surprise you. Now, what we did here today that makes some of this very interesting is that if reports are to be believed that Douglas Luiz's agent, Kia Joorabchian, is flying to England today to talk with Nottingham Forest about a move to Nottingham Forest for Douglas Luiz. Now, does that free up Morgan Gibbs White? They're also looking at bringing in Ndoye from Bologna to replace Anthony Elanga. Does that free them up? And then does that free up space for a Gibbs White to come to Spurs? And then will they need that money? Are they spending the Elanga money? I don't know. But all of these reports are all kind of linked to us in one way or another. But what I do know is we go on tour in about 8-9 days. And at the moment, we've only got Kudus as a first team starter. We need to give Thomas Frank the best possible opportunity to settle his team down, bed his players in. But are we seeing the same old Spurs? Are we being impatient? I know I'm being impatient. And what I'm hoping for is that in the next week, Spurs go 1, 2, 3. Gibbs White, Palhinha, a striker or a left winger. That's my hope. But will it happen? I don't know. I'm guessing a lot of you don't know. And we're all, spectators looking in with hope and dreams and desires. But are we looking in with expectation? The Spurs fans, the natives, as I keep saying, are getting restless. Which Tottenham Hotspur are we going to see this summer? Are we going to eat our words? I want to eat my words. I want to see a fantastic window where I turn around and go, I'll shut up now. The club have been brilliant. Great window. Thomas Frank, do your thing. At the moment, it's not looking that way. Let me know your thoughts. I'll be back at 7 p.m. tonight for a live fan call-in show. All the YouTubers that keep talking about me, feel free to come on. I keep seeing you make videos about me. Come on and have a chat with me. Don't talk behind your camera. Come on and talk to me. YouTube viewers, you're allowed on. The lovers, the haters, everyone's allowed on. That's 7 p.m. And please subscribe to the Spurs 5. I'll put the link in the chat. Take care, everyone. Much love. And as always, come on, you Spurs.